right, thanks everyone for joining us. Thanks for turning to Unicorn Ride today. Cold, rainy day in Chicago. We're here the 10th official day of no classes, so we're calling that the 10th day of the strike. It's been 14 days since they called the strike. No settlement in stone yet, and teachers and CTU staff and SEIU members are here in Chicago. They met up at a Target here at Roosevelt and Clark Street. Thousands are here now. There was definitely 500 when we got here, and it's just continued to grow. Thousands of union members and teachers here, and they're planning a march and a rally here in just a little bit here. And they're marching to a site called the 78, which is another TIF-related site. I'll get into more of that in a minute, but the 78, what that refers to is, by the developers, or by the city, I should say, there's officially 77 neighborhood areas in Chicago. They want to, through development, turn this into 78. This site is located just south of the Loop, just north of Chinatown. And so it's these TIFs are usually supposed to go to blighted areas. And I mean, it says definitely there's a open area that needs to be developed, of course, but it's already in a rich area. And it's being given to developers who have the money to build this, and they will make the money back from it. But obviously these are incentives, billions and billions of dollars of tax incentives over the years. And so like yesterday, there was a large rally near the Lincoln Yards development, which is another area that they call blighted, so it gets these TIF dollars. The thing with that is it's a smaller area. It's an island of what they call blight in the middle of a super rich developed area. And it was an old mill that they tore down and then called it blighted so they could get the TIF money for it. These TIF dollars are really ideally in cities supposed to develop poor, underdeveloped areas and obviously increase tax revenue. I understand that. But TIFs in Chicago for the longest time have gone to the richest people to redevelop the already rich parts of Chicago. And so that's why teachers had protested Lincoln Yards yesterday. That's why they're out here to protest this development today. The city continues says there's no money for any of these things they're asking for. And they're like, there's billions of tax dollars over the years that are scheduled to go to these large developers that already have the money in these rich areas. Billions of tax dollars, yes, over many years, but those are many millions of dollars from that could go to these programs to fund Chicago public schools. So that's why a lot of people are like, what's the deal with the TIFs? Why is this related? Well, I think I've just explained that to you from what we've talked to with the teachers and what they've released. And just to point out, the city said they have no money, and yet they promise for years to come now, for decades, the city will be paying tax dollars they don't even have yet to these large developers.
There's a car trying to drive through us right there. One car.
So while we're here on day 10 and no classes, 14th day of the strike, what we're left with at the bargaining table is pennies compared to the overall budget of CPS, and especially compared to what these TIFs are getting and other things budgeted for the city. We're talking just a few $1 million, definitely under $100 million, depending on whether you ask the city or the CTU, of really what's left. And really one of the main sticking points that's left is adequate prep time for teachers, especially elementary school teachers, who just don't have any time in the morning to get their classes ready and very limited time during the day to prep for that day and the next day. Chicago Public Schools and the mayor have struck back and said they're framing it as, no, we're not going to make shorter time for students. We're not going to shorten the class day. Claiming that just doesn't work. I don't know where she's getting her statistics on that. And it's not about necessarily shortening the class day. It's about giving teachers adequate time, not on their own time, to take care of class. Because right now, that's what they're doing. They're getting there earlier. They're doing it at home, and they're still having to do this work unpaid. And it may seem small to many people. Like, if that's all that's left, why won't these teachers just go back to work? Let me take you back to 2012, the strike of 2012. A very historic strike then. It lasted just 7 days of no class, and the CTU made a lot of compromises. They made a lot of compromises to get kids back to work, teachers back to work, because that's what everybody really wants. What we've learned from the last strike is so many things were left on the table still. They were arguing for prep time. They were arguing for smaller classes then. It took another strike for the city to finally cave on allocating the money for smaller class sizes. At first it was just for a third. As of last night, now all the money is there magically. And the city's saying, that's it. That's all we can do. And there's only a few million left that needs to be allocated for things like prep time, very small things left on the table. But it's things that many teachers, they've been out here a long time, they've put this effort into it. They know that if they go back now without that, the city will not take care of that on its own. The city of Chicago and Chicago Public Schools has proven that. 2012 proved it took a strike to even get some moderate demands that they were asking for then. So this strike is really like capitalized on a lot of the missed opportunities from the strike in 2012. And I know a lot of the union members that I've talked to know that, and it's in their mind. And that's what's really one of the things that's really keeping them out here. They want to get back to their kids. They don't want to be out here either. So they're just lining up all the union members and allies on Roosevelt now. And they met, like I said, they met in front of the Target on Roosevelt and Clark. Thousands here. About a half hour ago, I estimated 1,000 on each side of the street, and it's just continued to grow then, and now everyone's in the street. So it's hard to get an accurate number, but there's definitely thousands out today. It's cold, it's rainy, everybody wants to be warm, nobody wants to be out here, but yet you still see high spirits. So just a moment here. Strikers are preparing to march, and from what they've released, they're going to march a little further down Roosevelt here. It looks like we're very close to the site of quote-unquote the 78. Again, if you're just tuning in, what that is it's a parcel of land the city sold off and wants to turn into the 78th neighborhood in Chicago. There's currently 77 neighborhood areas, and they want that to be the 78th. It's located on the south side, just south of the Loop, just north of Chinatown. It's not really going to help the really needed areas of Chicago. Just like many of these TIF projects, they're usually given to very rich developers to benefit more of the upper echelon of the city. And the city always says, well, that's going to be, we do that, it brings in bigger rents and more tax dollars. And I'm not going to deny that's true. But if that's all you do and you continually forget about those in need, that money does not trickle down, as the city thinks it does, into the outskirts of the city, into the far west side, and into the south side, and some of the actual blighted communities that the city of Chicago has. There's food deserts where literally you can't not find a place to get real groceries for many blocks. And if you don't have transportation, it makes it very difficult. And even paying them for transportation or public transportation, that's adding then to your food costs. Try to find some real food. Many just have to go to the local convenience stores and try to sustain themselves that way. So again, thank you for tuning into Unicorn Riot today. We've got Lorenzo operating the camera for the live stream for you folks at home, and this is John Z, your host for today. We've got Andrew producing our live show on the back end. Thank you, Andrew. And of course, we cannot be here covering these events that are important to you and important to us without viewer support from you at home. This is an ad-free, commercial-free organization that we've created here. There's no paywalls on our site, ever. We want this to be free to the public. We have a Creative Commons license so people can use any of our footage, or articles that they want, as long as they're not going to obviously make money off of it. As long as it remains not commercial, you can use any of our stuff for free. And we want to keep it that way. That's our dream. That's what we've created. And again, we've made it this far because of viewer support like you. If you are able to donate, it goes so far, and we so appreciate it. Right now, we're having an end-of-the-year fundraiser for as little as $5 a month. We're going to send you some free Unicorn Riot swag, some stickers and a magnet, just to say thank you and to remind you of your favorite independent news channel when you're at home. So if you can do that, we really appreciate it. You can go to our website, unicornriot.ninja, and just under our top header, there's a banner that says Help Keep Us Growing into 2020. You can click on that. It'll take you right to how you can donate. And also, if you go into our Facebook event, or the Facebook post for this, you will see the link for that as well in the description. We really appreciate that. It's also at the top, pinned to our Twitter. And you can follow us on Twitter at UR_Ninja. That's at UR_Ninja. And the march is beginning now. of the teachers starting to march down Roosevelt. And if we could pan the camera just to the right just a little bit here, just for a second, that's part of the quote-unquote blighted area the city is designating in this 78 zone. So you can see there is nothing there, and it does need some redevelopment, but billions and billions of dollars over decades to an already rich developer to an area that, when it is developed, is going to help the upper echelon of Chicago, is why the teachers are out here. It's why they were at Sterling Bay yesterday. It's to make a point. The city keeps saying there's no money, we don't have no money. That money's over there, this money's over here. And so protesters were out yesterday and today, and CTU members saying, well, what about all this money? And this is not a new thing in Chicago. Long history of TIF development not actually trickling down to the neighborhoods and the people that actually could benefit the most from a lot less. So the big banner in front says, the schools we need, not LaSalle greed, referring to these large developments taking decades of future tax revenue away from Chicago public schools and other neighborhoods and areas that could really, really benefit from them. Fighting for the schools Chicago students deserve, this banner in front says. So again, Unicorn Riot, we came here on Saturday, and we've been here and trying to be live whenever we can for you. And we'll continue to do that in the next couple of days here as long as events are still unfolding. So when we arrived here on Saturday, there was a solidarity rally at Union Park. Many teachers, hundreds of teachers were there, and it was just kind of to get off the picket lines, give them a break. Sorry, man. Apologize.
Fighting for justice.
Let's put the mic on them.
Public education.
Try to give me like 1 minute of like
Thank everyone for tuning into Unicorn Riot. You can watch our live stream on Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, and live stream. Multicasting for your convenience. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at UR_Ninja. Get more updates you may not see on our live feed if you're not following us already. Here in Chicago, Illinois, just south of the Loop. 10th day of no class as the CTU teacher strike continues.
David Gates for mayor.
Thanks for tuning in. We're here in Chicago, Illinois. 10th day of no classes for students. 14th full day of the Chicago teacher strike. We have strikers and CTU members now marching down Roosevelt here in Chicago to what's dubbed the 78. It's a development site. The city's called that. Referring to the 77 neighborhoods in the city, they want to turn this into 78. Just south of the Loop here, north of Chinatown. So members are trying to point out, just like they did yesterday at Lincoln Yards, that there is money. City is guaranteeing money for decades, billions, to these developers. The money is there, and that's what these actions yesterday and today are trying to highlight. And the whole TIF subject in Chicago is a whole other subject. We could do a whole piece of video on it at a later time. It's very, not only confusing, but it's something that really needs to be addressed here in the city. All right, folks, if you're just tuning in, thanks for tuning into Unicorn Riot today. Unicorn Riot, John Z here hosting. We got Lorenzo on the camera. We are here in Chicago, Illinois, where CTU members are on their 10th day of no classes during the CTU strike. They met up at the Target Center just down there on Roosevelt and Clark, and we are marching now with the protesters and the strikers just over here, not too far from here, to a site dubbed the 78. 78 referring to the fact that there's 77 neighborhood areas in Chicago. The city wants this to be the 78th. So that's why it's dubbed that. And just like this is a TIF developer getting billions and billions of future tax revenue from the city to use for this development in an already rich neighborhood that's not really going to trickle down to the more needed neighborhoods and more needed folks in the city. And it's bringing a point to the city that, yes, there is money available. You're guaranteeing future billions to these rich developers, and you're saying there's not a few more million to fix the few little holes left in the bargaining table. So that's why we're seeing this here today. Thousands and thousands of CTU members out in the cold and the rain today, trying to keep their spirits high, and you can see they are. And please don't forget, we do this only for viewer support from you. We couldn't be here without you. We really appreciate it. You can help us out right now with our year-end fundraiser. Just a little, $5 a month goes a long, long way to us. Especially added up by many of you out there. We'll just send you free gifts right now, stickers, magnets. You donate $5 a month or more. And you can go to our website, unicornriot.ninja, and there's a banner towards the top that says, keep us growing into 2020. Click on that. Donate the money. We'll send you free gifts. If you can't donate, we still appreciate you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sharing. We can't do it without you doing that as well. If you don't want to donate, that's okay. We'll still, the people who can donate, you're helping out those who can't afford to. You're paying it forward to others to keep our media free for everybody. And that's why it's not just helping us, it's helping everybody else too. So we really appreciate you. Back to the march. Workers in some of these buildings giving support to CTU, like the T-Mobile right here. Raising their fists and taking video as the marchers come on by. Police blocking the entrance to the 290 expressway here. Just to make sure that nobody takes the freeway here. Some protesters did attempt to take Lakeshore Drive last Thursday. Pardon us, I'm sorry. So the march has reached Halstead now and seems to be taking a left. Halstead and Roosevelt. So new viewers, thank you for tuning into Unicorn Riot, either on Facebook, YouTube, live stream, or Periscope. We appreciate it. Checking out the 14th official day of the strike. It's the 10th day of no classes. If you missed our coverage yesterday, in the morning, tens of thousands of CTU members rallied on... Sorry, hold on a second. Rallied on Lincoln Yards, another site of a TIF development, to point out the fact the city does have some money. We're just trying to figure out where to go at the moment. Bear with us, folks. Some speakers here, a little press conference coming up. So again, as I was saying, if you missed our coverage yesterday, we were at the Lincoln Yards site. There's a huge rally. Estimates of 10 to 15,000 or more of the CTU union members and allies. And it was, again, at the site of Lincoln Yards, what the city calls a blighted area, which then gives it ability to receive TIF money to a developer who wants to develop it. That area is a small blighted area in the middle of a very rich area. So it's not a blighted community at all. Just they tore down a building and now it's a blighted hole, and they're getting $6+ billion over the next couple of decades for that Lincoln Yards development. So Oh, we're going to be fancy and put our mic in a little mic holder in a minute, folks. This is great. So yeah, they did that on Lincoln Yards yesterday to make the point. There is money there. There's billions of future tax revenue now being earmarked for these already rich developers to go to these already rich communities. If TIFs were fair, many people say they would go to actual blighted areas where there are plenty of on the south and far west sides of the city. That money never goes to. So we're here today. Another proposed TIF site, dubbed the 78, being developed, another billions of dollars over the next few decades to develop the area, turn it into the 78 neighborhood. That's why it's dubbed the 78. We're going to find out more about it here in this press conference. I'm going to place our mic on the podium, folks. Thank you.
know that you are also fighting for us. Do you think for a minute, let's try. Well, okay, we've got it. Do you think for a minute that okay, do you think for a minute?
What do you think?
I'm just thinking about
Leave.
that there's something
Here we go. We never give up.
okay. Do you think for a minute? Hello?
Okay, during this quiet moment,
All right, now I will tell you what you were thinking. No, you never think this. What is it a minute?
we're in trouble.
Give it up for B.
Give it up! B! Make some noise! Okay. Do you think for a minute that those selfish, greedy, with no thought for the future, because the way they destroy the climate, in the end, if we don't stop them, it's going to get them too, that they're human. Do you think people like that who care nothing about our children would allow us to continue to collect our pensions? And so it's my self-interest also that brings me here. If we weren't fighting with a union that unites us with working people all over the country, nothing more powerful than the force of working people united.
Fighting for justice. Beep, beep, toot, toot. Get up off that loop. Beep, beep, toot, toot. Get up off that loop. Maury, beep, beep, toot, toot. Get up off that loop. Beep, beep, toot, toot. Get up off that loop. We gotta call Byron Lopez, Alderman of the 25th Ward. Come on now.
Thank you. And thank you to all the teachers, the seekers, the parents, and the people of Chicago who standing strong for what's fair, what's right, what's just. That's what this is fight. What is this all about? For justice, for equity, for the schools that our children deserve, and for the city that we all want to live in. And for that to happen, we have to stop giving away billions of dollars in thief dollars, in public dollars, to luxury funding sources. And let's remember, yes, it was Rahm Emanuel that approved and pushed these $6. And when many of us, many aldermen, new aldermen, stood in front of City Council on day one and said, let's delay the tips until we see what the budget looks like. The mayor changed your campaign promise, which was to also delay the tips. So we're not in this position. Let's remember that. So we haven't changed, brothers and sisters. We've been consistent in our fight since 2012, since day one, and for every single day, for the 10 days that you, the teachers, the parents, the seekers, the staffing, that are fighting for all of us, have been consistent about equity and justice. Let's hold the mayor accountable. Let's hold City Council accountable to keep the promise. This is a fight for justice. And let me finish with this. When we see all the media and the narrative and the disinformation and all these facts being turned around, who do we trust? Those of us who got big on the front lines fighting for justice? The 32,000 plus people saying the same thing? Or the CPS and the system that has failed our children for way too long? Let's stand strong! Let's remain strong! We are with you, Sister Brother. Let's continue the fight. We are with you.
When we fight, we what? When we fight, we what? We've been out here sacrificing. We've been out here marching, chanting, just for the resources our students deserve. We also had some teachers who got arrested yesterday. I want to bring them to the stage. The Strike 9 members, the leaders, and all the teachers who was arrested, who sacrificed. Can you make some noise? The 9 members who sacrificed, got arrested. We don't let them speak.
Good afternoon, CTU! My name is Hilario Dominguez. I'm a special education teacher at Peter Cooper Elementary in Princeton. I want to be vulnerable and honest with you for a quick second. When you do something like we did yesterday, sometimes you feel alone. And today we woke up to headlines attacking us and giving all types of misconceptions of why we did what we did. So real quick before I even get started, I want my brothers and sisters up here to know that you're with them. So I'm going to say each and every single one of their names and respond with, we're with you. Okay? First, Celeste Esquivel.
We're with you.
Jenna Borden.
We're with you.
Sandra Murillo.
We're with you.
Ariel Kicken.
We're with you.
Sarah Gaiman.
We're with you.
Sarah Peace.
We're with you.
Roxana Gonzalez.
We're with you.
Cynthia Gonzalez.
We're with you.
Now let's make something very clear. Yesterday when we showed up to Sterling Bay, we had no intention of getting arrested. We wanted to deliver a letter asking them to come to the table and renegotiate the billions of dollars they received and give us our money, what we need to close our contract. When we showed up, they refused to meet with us. So we did what only we knew. We civilly disobeyed. I also want to make another thing clear. The police did not want to arrest us. We got arrested because greedy developers put in a complaint and said forcefully remove them from the property. They refused to meet with us. They refused to send someone down. They refused to let us go up and speak to them. Our city isn't broke, brothers and sisters. Our priorities are. Yesterday, our city showed us that they prioritize mega developers that are getting billions of dollars with the not with comes to black and brown children, where's the money? How do we pay for it? That ain't right. That ain't right. That ain't right. So I'll say this and I'll end it with this.
White, black, and brown.
As we were in jail, all I could think about was that in that awful situation, we were still privileged. As educators, as people that have education, we were privileged. We were treated fairly. But I kept thinking about all the students in the city that were failed by the system that we're trying to fund, that end up in prison and have no idea how they're going to get home. So this isn't about us. This is about them. And one more thing to Mayor Lori Lightfoot. This isn't political. It's personal. Because when you don't fund our schools, when we don't get our counselors, our nurses, librarians, seekers don't get what they deserve, our teachers don't get what they deserve, it's personal. When parents are not included in the conversation, it's personal. And if we don't get it, if we don't get it, if we don't get it, if we don't get it,
Shut it down! Yes! Make some noise! Last strike now, members who was arrested. Make some noise! They said Thank you. We have a lot of clergy that's backing us up and supporting us. I want to bring to the stage Pastor William Hall of St. James Church. Can we get a round of applause? Yeah, clap for praise, I would say.
What do we want? What do we want it? Y'all can do better than that. What do we want? When do we want it? I just left Bible study with some of our seniors who are retired teachers. And when I told them that I was coming to be with CTU, they reminded me of one thing that I wanted to remind each and every last one of you all, is that faith without works is dead. Everybody out here has faith that it's going to get better. In the midst of it getting better, you all have not been paid. In the midst of it getting better, you have not had a contract for some time. In the midst of it not getting better, you are out here in the cold. And just know that your work is not in vain. Even though it gets hard sometimes, even though it doesn't seem like it's going to come to an end, what you're doing today is making it brighter for our young people tomorrow. Come on, one more time for the work that you're doing. I want to remind you all of this, that even when you feel like giving up, whether you're Christian or Jew, whether you're Muslim or atheist, whether you go to church or you don't go to church, whether you got a pastor or rabbi, imam, something is going to push you to keep going. And what's pushing you is making sure that these kids have a librarian. What's pushing you is making sure that these kids have nurses. What's pushing you is making sure that there are enough teachers in the right size classrooms. What's pushing you is make sure that you have food on your table with a fair contract. Athletes should not get more money than teachers. Executives should not get more money than teachers. And so when you feel like giving up, repeat after me. Say, God will. Say it like you mean it. Say, God will. God can. Say, God will. God can. Give us strength. Let's have a moment of silence real quick. Bow your heads. God, today a child didn't go to school. Today a child might not have gotten anything to eat because they were dependent on a lunch. And so God, we need you to give these teachers a second wind. They walk the picket lines day in and day out. Some don't even have money for their own rent. Some are struggling trying to make $1 out of 15 cents. And so God made this work shine the real light on Chicago. May this work shine light into the hearts of all of these young people. And so on today, we need you to intervene. We need you to stand up in that negotiating room and do what only you can do. And so send every resource that these teachers have fought for, every resource that these teachers need, because without you, it's not possible. And so we're trusting in you, and we know that it's going to happen one way or the other. But in the meantime, in between time, may these teachers make more noise. May these teachers stand strong, and may these teachers never give up. For weeping may endure for a night, but joy is going to somehow come in the morning. What do we want? What do we want it? I said, what do we want? When do we want it? If you believe it's going to happen, one more time, make some noise. CTO.
Indiana, and I'm a proud mother of 3 who kids attend CPS schools here in Chicago. I am also running for state representative for House District 9. My mother died when she was 28 years old. I was 5 years old when she died. My grandmother was a stroke survivor, so it wasn't much she could do for me and my sister. But it was teachers like you who took care of me, who saw the signs of a kid who was hungry and couldn't pay attention in class, so they made sure I went home with extra food so that I could eat, right? It was teachers like you who made sure that I transitioned into foster care when I was facing horrors back at home. If it wasn't for teachers like you all who are standing up and advocating for our kids, I wouldn't be standing here today. You all are my hero, you are lifesavers, and you all are an example of what it means to fight. Projects like 78 is a result of where the city priorities are. And it ain't right. It's not right at all. The mayor needs to come to the table and give a contract that invests into our kids and invests into our schools. My 6-year-old has asthma. Every day when I go to work, I'm stressing because I don't know if he has a nurse that would be there or anyone who would recognize the signs of him having an asthma attack, and that's not right. I know from being in foster care what it's like to go to a school that's fully funded. Every kid deserves an education, and our teachers, you all deserve the respect, and you all deserve to be in a school where it's funded and where our kids will have a future, because you all shape our children for what is to come in society. I apologize, but I thank you, and I will stand with you all. No matter what happens, I am here and I am standing with you all. Thank you.
Solidarity. When our schools are under attack, what do we do? When our teachers are under attack, what do we do? When our students are under attack, what do we do? What do we do? Stand up. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? We standing up, we're fighting back. Our bargaining team is still at the table, still negotiating. We hope we get good news. We hope there's movement, that we can get back to our students, but we're just being encouraged that today will work out. That Lori will get on the right foot, do what she needs to do, get us back in the classrooms, get us back in the school. Because are we ready? We ready? We're ready. If we need to use the washroom, the church is happy to let us go into the washroom and use the washroom. We have a marshal on that end who will direct us to that. But we are here today just encouraging everyone to stand strong. Yesterday, some members went to Decatur Illinois, are you out here? Nancy, Raza, any of our PSIPs, because teachers, they're going on strike as well. Do we have any parents that's out here supporting us? Any parents, raise your hand. Are we all parents in Chicago Public Schools? All of us other parents? But we just want to some shout out to our parents that's out here walking the lines with us. Any students that's out here that's supporting. Come on, my students, come to the stage. Come to see some of my students. I know they are ready to come. We're back to school. We have our students out here. We are sacrificing for our students. Come on, make some noise. Come on up here. Come on up here. Come on up here. Any more students? Come on up. We want to show our future. This is our future. Oh, we got
We're with you. Stay strong. You're fighting for us when the system is failing us. Thank you. You guys are sacrificing so much. Good day, come time. Can I have a future right now? Hope for the future because of you. Thank you.
Yes, yeah, come on, you want to say something? Another student, Gio brought tears to my eyes.
I mean, I don't personally have anything to say. I just want to thank you all for, trying your best and trying to get a fair contract. And from the bottom of my heart to all the students, thank you very much.
Our students, our future.
This is my student.
This is a teacher.
Hi, this is my student, and he reached out and gave me a hug and said, "Good to see you, Miss Mike." Another thing, he was at Scammon during the pregnancy discrimination teacher. This is his second strike. He said he stood up for a lot of social justice. This student right here in 8th grade, and again now as a senior at Whitney Young.
Awesome. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We won't take it anymore. 5, 6, 7, 8. Come on, Lord, negotiate. 1, 2, 3, 4. We won't take it anymore. 5, 6, 7, 8. Come on, Lord, negotiate. 1, 2, 3, 4. We won't take it anymore. 5, 6, 7, 8. Come on, Lord, negotiate. We waiting on Lori. Bring it all home today. So we can get back in the classrooms and teach our students. Thank you, thank you, thank you all. Yeah, when we fight, come on, let's see. Come on. When we fight, we win. 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 We're gonna have Joanna. So we have another student. Come on and say something. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Aria, and I'm a student at Whitney Young High School. I want to say to all my teachers out there, thank you for teaching me how to learn, because while you are on strike, I'm here ready to learn so I can support you as we're on strike for a fair contract. Thank you for everything that you do and continue to do.
We're gonna call up Belinda Donahue. She's a teacher, so to speak out.
Hi, my name is Belinda Donahue. I'm a teacher, 5th grade at Inter-American Magnet School. And this fight is much larger than just my classroom, just my school. It goes beyond the walls of Inter-American, beyond the neighborhoods where we come from. It goes for all of the kids in our cities. And it's so important that we fight this strong fight, because as a graduate of CPS and as a product of CPS, we need to stay strong so that we are able to fight for the rights of our students, because class size is important. Class size is important because not every child gets to sit in a classroom of 25 kids. Some of these kids are sitting with 40 students in a classroom, in a kindergarten classroom. That is not okay. Having another body in the classroom is not the answer. We're literally tripping over students, and that is not going to help the situation. We need to be able to tell Lori, like, you need to get it together and wrap this up because we do want to get back to our classrooms and teach because our students have the right to a quality education.
Yes, we're waiting on Randy Weingarten. She's in traffic. She's coming. But we just want to stall a little bit more. We do some chat. But we are waiting for her. She came all the way from Washington, D.C. or maybe New York. One of those cities, but it's not in Chicago. She traveled to support this fight, this movement, and just put some more pressure on Lori and her administration. Janice Jackson and the attorneys, we're just out here asking them for a fair contract. We're ready to go back into the classrooms. We've been marching, we've been keeping for how long? I done lost track. But over 10 days, 14 days, including the weekends, we're ready. We sacrifice for our students. And we're just going to keep this moment going. We're going to keep this momentum up. Because when our schools are under attack, what do we do? When our schools are under attack, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
Democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Get up, get down. Chicago is a union town. Get up, get down. Chicago is a union town.
Get up,
get up,
get down.
get down.
Chicago is a union town.
Get up, get down. Chicago is a union town. Make some noise. Okay, so we got word that she will not make it in time, but the officers encourage you to please pay attention to the website, look over the information that we got, that you might have received from your strike coordinators, and just stay prayerful, be encouraged, and just be hopeful that today, within a couple of hours, that God shine His light on Lori Lightfoot, and she get on the right foot, and we do some compromising, and we get this deal done. All right, that sound good? Does that sound like a plan? I thank you all for coming. That concludes our program for today. So yes, travel safe, go back, stay visible, have your phones out, got a computer, stay warm, get some coffee, a hot meal, stay prayerful, return all sides back. Beep beep, toot toot, get up off of that loop, beep beep, toot toot, get up off that loop, I said beep beep, toot toot, Lori, get up off of that loop, beep beep, toot toot, get up off of that loop, beep beep, beep beep, toot toot, get up off of that loop, I said beep beep, toot toot, get up off of that loop, Lori, beep beep, toot toot, get up off of that loop, beep beep, toot toot, hey, get up off of that loop, Lori. Make some noise. Y'all act like y'all don't want to go.
All right, thanks again for everyone for tuning into Unicorn Riot today and the previous days we've been live here in Chicago. We're going to remain here at least for the next couple of days as long as the strike is going on, so make sure you follow us at Unicorn Riot. On Twitter, it's at UR_Ninja. And like I said, we're going to be here for more updates. And so that concludes this action today. It was another TIF-related action, just like yesterday at Lincoln Yards. These teachers in CTU trying to highlight that there is money there. It's just going to the wrong places.
Thank you
So
all
we're still waiting.
on this rainy day.
We're
Still sacrificing,
sorry.
still marching.
Very loud, very loud.
Thank you all. Thank you.
It's rainy, it's
all.
cold, and so it's day 10 of no classes. We're still waiting on any word from the negotiating team. We did hear the negotiating team is still at the table today. If there were going to be, when classes resume, for the classes to resume, the union will still have to get its delegates together and vote for the strike to be over. So they would have to come up with some kind of agreement early enough to get the delegates together to vote for the strike to be over before school can resume. So if the later it goes on today, the more likely there will be no school tomorrow. So we'll be here with more coverage. Again, thank you for tuning in. We can't do this without your support at home. For everyone who supported us in the past and is currently donating to us, we really appreciate it. That's what is able to bring us out here. But we need more help to keep growing into the next year and keep providing this coverage. So if you haven't donated before, but you really want to, $5 a month or more, we're going to send you some free gifts, some Unicorn Riot swag, some stickers, magnets, just as a thank you, and we really appreciate it. And it's going to help us keep growing in 2020, help keep upgrading our equipment, help keep bringing new members on. We got a new member in South Africa. We're really excited about that. We're going to get some great coverage from there. And can't do it without your support. Go onto our website, unicornriot.ninja. There's a banner towards the top saying help keep us growing into 2020. Click that. It's going to give you all the ways you can support us through Donor Box or become a patron. Same way, we're still going to send you those gifts, and it's very helpful. One-time donations are helpful too. We appreciate those. It helps keep us going. So again, we got John Z. I'm your host today. Thank you, and Lorenzo on the camera. Woohoo! And Andrew at home. Thank you very much for producing the show for us. We really appreciate it. And I think Jen was helping us out with some things earlier. We got a team doing this. Again, that's why your support, it really goes far. We work on a very small budget compared to some of these bigger guys here, and we have a large team producing throughout the country. And like I said, future coverage in South Africa, so that's very exciting. So again, John Z, I'm out for right now. We may be live later. Stay tuned to Unicorn Riot, because as soon as we hear word from the delegates, if they are going to vote, we're going to try to get there outside of where they're meeting and try to bring it to you live when they come out of there. It may not happen today. You don't know. Stay tuned to UR_Ninja on Twitter. We'll let you know there. I'm out. Thank you very much, folks.